What did we learn about Vergil Ortiz? Well, as Vergil Ortiz moves up as the weight bully of 147, one of the biggest guys in the division, we're getting to see him fight guys who are going to be more his size, and these are going to be things that we're going to learn about him that we would never be able to learn while he's fighting guys who are smaller than him, that can't put pressure on him, guys that when he hits them, they don't crumble right away, right? Where the punching power isn't as meaningful. And this is really important to be able to see this kind of stuff and see how he has to fight. Now, one thing I want you guys to pay attention to in this clip here is how he's fighting on the front foot here. Okay, after checking the line a little bit with Mr. Bohachik here, he's going to be getting on the line and he realizes he can't just bully him here, right? So he's going to be getting to this position where he's on the front foot quite often, but he doesn't want to just throw punches infinitely times, right? He can't just let him go. So he has to be mindful that Bohachik is going to be throwing punches, playing around a little bit with the shoulder feint timing there, right? Recognizing it here, trying to get off the line here and kind of pulling it way out of range, and then trying to steal a shot here. But you can see that while he's circling here, okay, he doesn't really have his hands up. He's not really blocking or ready to block, catch punches and stuff. And all this stuff is really, really, really important when we take a look at, again, getting into the front foot here, changing angles. And now he's not really going to be leashing Bohachik here. Notice no lead hand control throughout any of those sequences, no feinting, no probing. He just allows Bohachik to get on his line and again attack him here, expose his guard. Now he catches this punch, but he has to kind of explode into his own defense as well, and he pendulums off the line. Now as he gets towards the ropes here, he's going to be getting on the ropes, and again, he may look to start leashing again, realizing now that the ring is completely cut off. Bohachik is penduluming onto his line to time it so that as he gets to the ropes and the ropes get cut off, Bohachik can time him there. But he's in the middle of a pendulum step, and now he's going to try to initiate a sequence with Bohachik here, and he gets intercepted by this rear hand and kind of dropped. Now, he's trying to, again, leash Bohachik when he's on the outside or when he's on the ropes, but he's waited too long. Okay, and it just shows that this is one of those skills that because Vergil Ortiz is usually bigger than his opponents, he doesn't actually have to do. He doesn't know how to move and circle and, control a bigger opponent on the outside while making sure that they don't get an opportunity to cut the ring off against him, right? Really close the distance. And again, he, if you look at the timing of everything, he just allows Bohachik to kind of just jump onto his line. We take a look here. He's just penduluming, chasing him around here. And again, just a very, very basic timing here. Pendulums into a 1-2, right? And winds up dropping Ortiz. Again, Ortiz is not hurt, but he catches him with a decent shot while his feet are both in the air, and he can't catch himself before he hits the ground. Now, as we continue to take a look at this, one of the things we want to take a look at, okay, what happened? Right? How did this fight go so poorly for Ortiz? Well, sacrificing a position here to land this left hook to the body. Again, Ortiz very, very, very front foot heavy because he doesn't really have to move to the back foot. He doesn't really have to transition his weight from the front foot to the back foot, right? From leg to leg. He doesn't really have to do that. He usually fights on the front foot. So getting hit here, right, while he's looking for that shot, not all that common. I do think that Mean Machine may have hit him there as well. But again, look at him moving right back to the front foot here. Now, a lot of the times, he would be closing the distance on the larger, taller fighter. No real active guard. He would just be coming forward. Sometimes he has his high guard, but it's very, very interesting that he doesn't really look to block and interact with punches. Now, again, this is not one of those things that's like completely exclusive to fighting people who are bigger than you, but people who are smaller than you are going to often use many, many, many fewer throwaway punches. So you're going to usually pull back. They're going to be on the outskirts of the range, right? People who are smaller than you are not going to just be winging big hooks that you're going to be forced to block and this and that from the outside all that often. However, because Bohachik is so much bigger, he can kind of just let these shots go from any range and force Vergil Ortiz to give respect to them. Now, Vergil Ortiz really didn't have very good post-punch defense, as we're going to see in some of these clips here. But most importantly, a lot of this here on the inside, which again Vergil Ortiz chose to fight here, they're just trading punches. They're not really. There's not really a great strategy here. They're just kind of letting their hands go, and kind of each one of them, right? Now I called Ortiz a weight bully. Okay, I mean, I do want to say that for the 147-pound division, he is a weight bully, for sure. Ortiz is still kind of big for the average guy at 154, but Bohachik is massive for 154. He's also a weight bully. And that's the interesting thing about seeing a guy who comes from a lower division fighting a guy now in a bigger division, but he's the bigger guy, right? And I also often associate this idea with Errol Spence being a big, strong 147-pounder, right? Big for the division. And he was a guy very, very similar to Bohachik. I say Bohachik is a right side of the line fighter. That's a Fouts boxing term, right side of the line fighter. He doesn't really move to the left side of the line. He doesn't cross the line with his active guard, and neither does Bohachik, right? And they're very, very similar in that regard, except that Bohachik is an orthodox fighter, right? And in order to be a weight bully, an orthodox fighter that doesn't move their head or cross the line, you have to be a little bit better. And I do think that Bohachik is a little bit better of a fighter all around, even though he's not as sharp, he's not as fast as Errol Spence. And Errol Spence could still, if he fought him, beat him. So because their dynamics are different. But overall, the the amount of people the group of people that Bohachik is going to be able to capable of beating is going to be bigger than the one that Errol Spence can, even though their styles might match up in favor of Errol Spence simply because he's, faster, sharper. He's more snappy, even though he's not like a harder puncher. Even though, Bohachik, not very hard puncher either. All that to say, Ortiz is here just mashing his weight against the guy who's bigger than him, right? No post-punch defense, just throwing punches and trading with him. Again, just allowing them to throw punches at each other, trading, right? No real rhyme or reason, not looking to defend himself after he throws a punch, just trying to stay mostly close to him, okay? Again, moving in here into range, and because he has to be the one moving into range and controlling, he has to waste many, many, many more beats not punching and not doing stuff that Bohachik can be just throwing punches with, Now, there would be these kinds of ebb and flows where one guy would be landing punches. Again, good shot from Bohachik there. And again, if you see Ortiz shoving right there, pushing off of Bohachik would be punching and scoring right there. And then Ortiz is pushing off and trying to prevent scoring. And again, getting hit here, right? It's not like it's the cleanest shot, but that is a landed jab right there, right? And again, another one here. And again, because Ortiz does all these kind of fake moves, boom, again, getting smacked here. Now this one is a little bit innocuous. I just want to kind of highlight that Ortiz right here, he's pivoting on the front foot here. I'm not sure if it's going to play because I had it in slow-mo for a minute. But he's pivoting on the front foot there. Let's go ahead and go here. Okay, and he's going to go from this back foot position here. He's going to be rolling, right? And he's going to be, again, trying to get to the front foot here. Back foot, roll. Now notice didn't really transition his weight or change positions. Rolls to the front foot. And now he's going to be pivoting on the front foot. And again, this was one of those things that we learned about Vergil Ortiz, that he doesn't really know how to circle very well on the front foot. Now real quick, for those of you that are part of the Fouts Boxing Academy, there are very, very specific rules that I teach my guys about how circling is, and I'm very, very, very particular about it, and I hope everybody who's in the Fouts Boxing Academy watching this video right now sees why you have to be so particular when circling to the left, circling to the right, as I call it, circling, and then stepping around your opponent, right? It's very, very, very important that you understand what the real and correct rules are to do this safely, to make sure that you understand that you're always in the correct position, you always know where your traps are. And Vergil Ortiz, very, very, very clearly a beginner at these skills, not skills that he usually has to incorporate in his fights, again, because he's the weight bully. he's usually the guy forcing his opponents to run and circle and move away from him, while he takes advantage of their poor footwork, and he can take advantage of his speed and his power, and his explosiveness, and on average, his very, very, very high ability to cut the ring off. Now again, pivoting on the front foot with that defense, really, really rolling under that shot. And again, all the things that he's doing instead of punching just put him so far behind in the fight. Okay, now we got about like 8 more clips to take a look at, but this was a major pattern in the fight where Vergil Ortiz would choose, instead of boxing, to be just bodied up with Bohachik. And again, he has to be the one closing the distance after, right, getting off the line. If he does any fake moves, again, he doesn't really block or catch punches very well, even though he has a high guard. Again, shoving instead of punching here. And again, these kinds of things wind up putting him behind because they allow Bohachik to go first, right? Landing a good shot here. He's landing a body shot here, but again, Bohachik landing the better shot. And again, one of those things that if Vergil Ortiz was fighting a guy his size or smaller, it would be so much easier for him to manhandle the guy and bump him and keep him off balance like he's trying to do against Bohachik. Now again, getting on the line with him, bumping into him, right? And Vergil Ortiz is doing a fake move again, trying to wrap his arms around him instead of punching. He still wound up landing the first punch, but again, doing stuff that's more fake boxing than anything. A couple of good shots. Where's the post-punch defense from him? Did he get off the line? Did he move? Did he change angles? Did he, right? What did he do to ensure that he wasn't going to get hit by another shot? Not really anything. Look at him shifting forward, walking right into a little control here. But again, so much of the fighting here, again, post-punch defense, not very good. Getting smacked here. Not the cleanest or greatest shot, but that is a clean and landed blow. Vergil Ortiz is very strong. But as we saw, no post-punch defense after that shot there, right? And again, going blow for blow with a guy who's bigger than you, right? Just not always a winning idea, okay? Now, a few other things to take a look at, okay? Getting on the line with the jab here. Now, throwing a 1, 2. Now again, post-punch defense, right? When we see Vergil Ortiz shifting forward, getting controlled here, boom. Look at how long it takes him to get the energy back to re-snap or to get back into position, getting hit with an uppercut. And again, this was such a huge problem for him. And again, it's not something that he usually has to deal with because he's not usually the one stretching out his technique. He's not usually the one being stretched at all. Now again, take a look at him making it to that front foot here. Boom, jab, and then take a look at that big swing of his legs here. Now, if you know what you're doing and you're circling and you know how to set traps, it doesn't really matter all that much if you cross your feet. It really doesn't. However, there are so many other rules that you also have to be following that Vergil Ortiz is just not aware of as he's moving and circling. Good trap here. That he puts himself out of position quite often. And again, moving in these positions, getting hit here again for some reason, thinking that interacting with the jab and then throwing the body shot after, is a good move for him. But again, take a look at him pivoting on the front foot here. Again, this is a huge, huge, huge no-no. He didn't control his opponent, feint him. He didn't attack him before to open up any space. And he's just going to do this. And Bohachik immediately recognizes this and then is able to land a shot. Now, again, he's going to be pivoting again, re-pivoting on the front foot, and then again, walking into this shot again. Again, getting stuck on the front foot, circling on the front foot, again, because he doesn't understand how to shift his weight to the back leg. He doesn't understand how circling correctly works. Now, again, if you guys want to learn, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. It has over 100 drills already up and ready for you guys to start practicing. You don't have to start asking questions. You don't have to start. There's also over a dozen videos on the site for the Fouts Boxing Academy videos that are teaching people who are going through the drilling series how to get better and how to improve and how to continue to get value out of these drills. Again, these 100 drills are they're the first stages of learning the Fouts Boxing system, the Fouts Boxing combat system, which will include teaching you how punching power works as you guys learn to master your movement and learn to master your bodies. It's $20 to sign up, $160 a year if you want to get a year membership. And if you want private one-on-one coaching, again, this is for the community, which, you know, pseudo like one-on-one. You post your stuff and I go over your stuff. I teach you how to get better. But if you want one-on-one coaching, you don't have to post your stuff. You can still be part of the community. It's $400 a year. Check it out. It's a really, really revolutionary system, and it's going to teach you all the best ways to train, all the best drills to move around, to learn what's really going on in the ring. Okay. And then you're going to be able to see that as we talk about the drills, we talk about what's going on in the film studies, that the drills are going to make sense while you're doing them, why you want to do them. And as you guys level up, you're going to understand the importance of all the drills and the importance of all the stuff. And it's a really cool process to see people go from like very beginners, very beginner workouts to really, really, really high level workouts. It's really cool. And I 100% believe in this program, you guys. You guys should check it out. If you take the program seriously, I will turn you into a world-class athlete. Okay. Now, again, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of content on there already. So check it out. Anyway, again, a lot of trading from him. Very, very, very poor circling from Ortiz. And again, he just doesn't understand how to move his feet or how to follow the rules. Now, as we take a look at this clip here, okay, Ortiz is going to be controlling with the lead hand here, giving Bohachik a little bit of control, right? And this is one of those really, really interesting things that works really, 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 really well against someone, I'll say, who's doesn't really cross the line. Their active guard doesn't consist of head movement, right? And that would be somebody like Bohachik or Errol Spence, a guy who's not going to be able to, cross the line freely without throwing their weight with a punch. Now, Ortiz here, as I play this clip, he's going to control him with a little bit of lead hand control here, right? He's going to be stepping in the jab, but putting his lead hand out there and just controlling Bohachik sometimes too, giving him some stuff. That time going with the rear hand, this time going with the lead hand here. But he's going to have a lot of control over Bohachik, and Bohachik's not going to understand how to get around it without crossing the line, without interacting with that jab. And because he's a right side of the line fighter, he doesn't really cross the line at all. This jab is going to be able to pin him down on his own side of the line much more often where he doesn't want to be, and allow Vergil Ortiz to see his weight coming when he tries to cross the line with his rear hand, making it very, very, very obvious, right? Now, as soon as Vergil Ortiz stops feinting, he stops controlling, he stops using the lead hand to leash his opponent and drag him around, walk him like a dog. As soon as he stops doing that, it gives Bohachik an opportunity to start opening up and throwing his own punches. So without the lead hand, a little bit of lead hand control, but no lead hand control on that beat. Now Bohachik tries to close the distance, right? Now, again, all those attacks were very, very obvious, right? And very easy to see from Bohachik because, again, he's a right side of the line fighter. But take a look at how easy it is once he gets on the line, starts controlling him with the lead hand. Again, Ortiz here is trying to let him throw punches. He's using his high guard instead of lead hand control, and he's allowing Bohachik onto the line with him. And that gives Bohachik so many more opportunities to control and feint and pick his shots, right, that he doesn't have simply by using a little bit of leashing, right, a little bit of lead hand control. Okay, again, take a look at the massive dynamic change in the fight where Bohachik was completely looking outclassed. Now he's picking his little shot with the uppercut, right? Maybe hurting Ortiz right there. Okay, and again, it's really important to understand that the lead hand control, because Bohachik is a right side of the line fighter, he has to set everything up with his own lead hand. He's not looking to trade jabs with you either. That's not a good trade for him. Because he doesn't even have a power jab. All his weight is toward on the right side of the line. He doesn't throw a hard jab. I'm not saying he couldn't ever, right? But again, giving Bohachik the opportunity and the space to set his punches up, again, stepping in the line here, again, without Ortiz controlling any space, it just allows Bohachik to feint there, feinting here. Oh, okay, I'm going to start penduluming onto his line, right? Giving him space to throw these shots. And Ortiz, not really in position to counter, even though Bohachik's slow and not really in position to hit him, right? Not fast enough to hit him, right? Little fake move there from Ortiz because he doesn't want to use any energy, But again, just massive, massive difference in the tone of the fight there. Now, little overhand shot again, out of position here, and again, not really wanting to interact with him, right? Not blocking punches very well, not slipping punches. He has his high guard up, right? He had poor post punch defense there. Now he has no active guard here. Now he sees the big rear hand coming and he just squeezes his glove. He's not catching it. He's not blocking it. He's not slipping it. Again, you're not going to know that he has all these big holes fighting guys who are smaller than him. Now, what happens right after that? Okay, eats a few more shots. Boom, another shot. Again, no active guard, no this, no that. And then now it's his turn to jump on the line and throw punches, right? And just throw his own shots. Again, poor post-punch defense right there. Almost gets cracked, but Bohachik sucks. But again, all this stuff, like, you just don't learn this stuff about somebody when they're a weight bully, when they're fighting guys who are smaller than them. Now, again, where's the leashing? Where's the control, right? Again, trying to circle on the front foot. Boom, rear hand, poor post-punch defense. And then again, look at how long there was there, right? Again, circling here. Did he get hurt? Again, where's the control? Where's the leashing? Nothing, right? And again, just right allowed right onto the line here. And so much of the fight just kind of looked like this, where there were just these massive gaps in the skills and the things that Ortiz was supposed to be doing in each of these movements, in each of these moments, right? And again, without leashing Bohachik, Bohachik doesn't even have to fight very well. He just has to get on the line and start throwing punches because Ortiz has no control over him. All right, we got a couple more clips here. Okay, not too many. Again, stepping jab, circling, right? Beautiful shot. Now again, moving off the line, crossing the line when the jab comes, taking a step off the line, taking a step off the line. And look at, if you're not going to control space, you're not going to do all these things. Bohachik is not very dynamic, right? So look at him try to pendulum onto the line, feinting here. Now he's going to do the same thing, get on the line, pendulum, gets on the line, throws a shot. And look at Ortiz smacking him with a right hand over the top. Again, look at how, if you look back at that clip, look at how poor both of them are fighting right there. It straight up looks like karate, right? They're both jumping back and forth on their feet, on their toes, right? Neither one of them have their hands up. Neither one of them are controlling or feinting or crossing the line. They're both just, But look at how easy it was for Vergil Ortiz just to wait for Bohachik to come at him, because Bohachik has no choice, right? Bohachik gets stuck, right? Right? Throws this rear hand, gets stuck, has to go back across the line, but he gets stuck on this side of the line. He's not a guy that can cross the line. Okay? He's not a guy that's going to be tricky. So when he gets on the line with you, he's always guarding that line. He's always getting on the line with that lead shoulder forward, and then he has to cross, right? Or he has to lunge in. And those are the only ways that he can get on the line. This should have just been an easy, easy, easy fight. But because of the fact that Vergil Ortiz's circling is bad, he doesn't have an opportunity to set these kinds of moves up against Bohachik. Notice he did it this way, right, in this sequence. But notice he was also moving straight back into the corner. He wasn't able to do this while he was circling. Again, all of these footwork patterns that are problems, again, if you want to learn how to fix them and you want to know how to, like, the correct ways, the correct rules, the correct patterns, the correct ways to circle and move and step around your opponents, but also where all your traps go, where all your punches go. Check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. Again, as I continue to teach how boxing is supposed to be, the idea and announcers talking about, circling and leashing and these kinds of things, it's going to continue to rise. Okay. Again, it's going to be more and more popular again. Anyway, if you guys want to learn the most cutting edge and revolutionary boxing combat system ever, that's also going to teach you how to unlock all your punching power and turn you into an athlete and all that great stuff, again, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. And let me prove to you that I'm the greatest coach of all time, that no one on the planet knows more about boxing than me. Okay? Come check it out. It's only $20 a month. All right. But anyway, this is how difficult the fight should have been. Not difficult at all. Okay? Now, what did we get instead? Here's the last knockdown real quick, and then we're going to talk about the scoring and stuff. But here they are sitting on the inside, and just throws a random punch and hits Ortiz for free. Ortiz not really defending himself, doesn't block punches on the inside, eating more shots on the inside for no reason, right? And this is round 8 here. Now, he pendulums onto the line and throws this shot, makes it real obvious. Boom! And Ortiz smacks him with the left hook right here and counters Bohachik. Now Bohachik's going to be standing on the line, and again, Ortiz is a front foot fighter. He normally fights on the left side of the line. He can cross and go and fight on both sides. He's very talented in that regard, but he's usually a left side of the line fighter with his weight on the front foot. So this shot comes here from Bohachik. Boom, counters him, catches him with a great shot. But I want to point out both of these catch and counter style punches from Ortiz, both of them resulted in him getting hit right before. He didn't actually block these punches. Again, he doesn't block punches. He doesn't catch punches. He doesn't know how to circle very well. Okay. Now, again, poor post-punch defense, falling off balance a little bit after landing that shot. Okay. Bohachik thinks he hurt him. He thinks he hurt Bohachik. Now, again, he's getting on the front foot here, and Bohachik pendulums off the line. Boom, jumps down, gets his weight going. Boom, smacks Ortiz with the hook. Ortiz tries to throw his own hook, throws his weight. And again, because he just got hit, he doesn't wind up catching his weight when he comes down and winds up getting dropped again. Now, ironically, when I went through this round 8, I think that Ortiz actually won round 8 anyway. I think he wound up putting a beating on Bohachik and hurting him twice. And in spite of the fact that he went down, I think he won this round and wound up making it a 9-9 round. However, I think I only gave Vergil Ortiz 2 other rounds in the entire fight. I think I gave the fight to Bohachik 9-3 with 2 knockdowns, putting him just incredibly far ahead of Ortiz in the scoring. Watching it live, I wasn't really, I missed round 1. I was watching the other cards, so I came in like, the end of round 2. I didn't even hear anything about Vergil Ortiz going down. So in round 4, when they did that whole hoopla about what was going on with the scoring, I was like, what? Went down, motherfucker? What? Are you kidding me? And then they show it, and very clearly he's getting hit while he's penduluming. He gets dropped and he goes down. Same thing that happened to Errol Spence, right? Getting hit while he's penduluming. Now, not exactly, because his pendulum would telegraph his other attacks, and that's when Crawford would attack him. But Vergil Ortiz getting hit while penduluming and not making it back to the ground. Again, the pendulum step, a very, 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 very dangerous move, and it took a few years for people to figure out that they needed to be using it. And then it took a few years for people to realize that it's very dangerous, and people are going to start getting hit while they do it. People are going to be looking for it, for people to get on the line with it. But Vergil Ortiz basically just sitting on the line with Bohachik the whole fight. And again, not really able to ever separate himself in the scoring. He had a lot of moves where he's like shoving Bohachik, where he's throwing really glancing blows, and he'll like cuff him with the hook over the top, and it's like not really a scoring shot. It's not a good shot. And Bohachik is landing clean, clear shots. He's not like a super strong or snappy guy, or he's strong, but he's not like a snappy guy. He's not using a ton of energy when he punches. He's kind of just like, tortoise in the hare. Vergil Ortiz was racing with everything, throwing everything as fast as he could, just going crazy. And then Bohachik is just like smack, smack, smack. Ow, 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 smack, 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 ow, ow, ow. Vergil Ortiz needs a break. Smack, smack. Vergil Ortiz needs another break. Smack. And then Bohachik is just piling up points. Now, I don't think that Vergil Ortiz was hurt in this fight, but I do think Bohachik was hurt a few times. He was definitely hurt. I think he might have been hurt twice in the 8th round, this round that Bohachik dropped Vergil Ortiz in. But But Vergil Ortiz, I really don't think that he won very many rounds. Now I think I might have to watch the fight. I'm gonna listen to the comments and stuff at the end of this video, and I'll see what you guys think. But man, is it crazy to think that Vergil Ortiz, like, he did get his butt whooped? And again, skill wise, I think that Vergil Ortiz, obviously more skilled, more talented. He also, I think, has a wider range of people he can beat. Um, but Bohachik was just bigger, you know. Again, all the skill and the talent and stuff was there, but Vergil Ortiz just did not organize his fight plan correctly. You know why he wanted to be bodied up with Bohachik and just let Bohachik just touch him up all night long with pity patter bullshit, you know, and outpoint him. I don't know. But that was not something that needed to happen. You take a look at that third round clip where he's just controlling him and leashing him, and Bohachik can't even find a meaningful opportunity to get on the line, not even close. And then you look at the rest of the fight, and he's just, battering him, trying to, he's just trying to smash and, push through and um, back to what I was saying about the scoring when I was watching the fight live. I wasn't even watching the fight to score it at all. I was just assuming at some point it was inevitable that Vergil Ortiz was going to be able to hurt him, you know? So, anyway, yeah, I had the fight 9-3 Bohachik. I think that Vergil Ortiz won like the second round, maybe. I think he won the 8th round, even though he got dropped. And then I gave him the 12th round. And like, even that one was like pretty close. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. Again, has over 50 members already. Tons of professional fighters posting content. Amateur fighters posting content. Um, and sorry, not professional fighters. Aspiring professional fighters. There's a few that are going to be professionals soon. Um, but a lot of amateur fighters, a lot of guys who are really strong, really good, and really in shape. But also all the film studies that I do on Patreon, all the pre-fight film studies, they're also going to be posted on there as well. And also we do like pre-fight film studies for boxing betting and stuff as a way to also teach boxing and teach what the Fouts Boxing Academy is all about. So anyway, see you guys.